Hello, friends. Welcome to Four Friends in a Book, where we gather around each week and talk about the books that we've read and how they've potentially changed our views on the genres, the characters, and the stories that we've been reading. Hello, friends, and welcome to Four Friends in a Book, the name that's still pending because we're still working on it. This week, we're talking about all things that are historical fiction or quasi-historical fiction. And today's lead off from moi, Dr. D, or Dr. David Smith, as I've been called in the chat. And to my left, the very beautiful and gazelle-like Dr. Teresa Stairs.
I'm glad you fixed that. Hi, everybody. I'm going to hand it over to our dear friend Diane. She's in my. I'm going counterclockwise now.
Hello, everybody. I just heard loud noise behind me. Probably you can't hear it, so that's why my face made the look it did. Anyway, now let's hand it over to Joe.
Hello.
Hello.
How is everyone? Does
Along.
anybody get the reference of Ender Wiggins?
No.
I do, because I know what you just read.
Yeah, you do. David gets it. All right. Quite
Great. I feel like I'm not clued in on a joke or something.
The love of my life. You actually know the book, Ender's Game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never read it.
It was quite lovely. It was one of Brady's all-time favorites, one of Stephanie's all-time favorites. So I figured it was time I should read it, and it was an absolutely enjoyable read. Yeah, no complaints.
Good.
Yeah, I will give it a 7.6 out of 11. Yeah, I'll give it an 8.4 out of 11.
I like that scale. That's a good one.
The only question is I'm not sure 11 what. So
chickens?
Still playing with that. Now, this is historical fiction. I think I went sideways on the topic.
Or mashup fiction, however you want to call it.
Mashup fiction is what I thought. Okay, all right.
Yeah, David just changed it. Hey, guess what?
I think our house is being disassembled somewhere in the background.
That I did hear.
Yeah. That was a little aggro.
Stephanie's.
You know what? If you don't make eye contact with anybody, it doesn't really happen.
Since
Stephanie's bringing pieces of the house up to the podcast.
Bring this over.
She's playing hockey in the house.
Yeah. This is what the Winter Olympics does to people.
Okay, for the record, I do want to give a shout out not only to the women's hockey team, who absolutely dominated in their division.
She's going for it.
Right? And I mean, absolutely appropriate. But also the fact that we pretty much made the men's Olympic hockey team win gold by merely talking about it and referencing back to the 1980s. That's all I'm saying. It's because of this podcast, Four Friends in a Book, name still pending.
That kind of influence, yeah.
That we have a double gold in the Olympic hockey U.S. teams.
Let's also give the men's team some props.
I did.
It's not just us.
No, it's directly us. It's the four of us.
Yeah, we absolutely directly influenced them. They were doubting, they were uncertain, and I'm fairly confident that our podcast was played right before they took the ice against our friends to North Canada to inspire them to the greatness that hasn't been in the hands of the men's Olympic hockey team since the miracle on ice in Lake Placid in 1980. Now, I think the women have won 3 golds in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
No, this is their first gold. They lost 3 golds in a row because Canada just dominated them.
Okay.
But they took their revenge, and in both cases, the men and the women both defeated the Canadians. I mean, they're trash anyway. But we won.
No, that's the Irish. Canadians
I love Canada. But in all honesty, when it's down to hockey and the Olympics, F them.
You need to watch Shoresy, David.
I probably do. Also, I do want to give a shout out because the women's Olympic hockey team declined an invite to the White House after the president whined about inviting them.
Good.
And so they're like,
good.
we're good.
F that guy.
Awesome.
I didn't want to say F that guy. It's not fair to orange people, but yeah, same.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely. And it was nice that there were a couple of the men in the locker room when he was saying, "Yeah, just so you know, I got to invite the women too." That there were 2 men that were players from the men's Olympic team who said, "Yeah, 2 for 2," and that were propping them up, basically singing the praises of the women's team, which was very different than the theme of the phone call.
Now the brothers I heard that are on the team on the men's
there's 2
team,
sets of
their
brothers, the
mom
Chucks.
coached
Yeah.
the women's hockey team. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's wonderful.
Also, I want to give a shout out because the women's figure skating champion absolutely dominated. She
Oh
was
my gosh.
Oh,
Talking about Alyssa Liu?
yes,
Yes.
her
What an
performance
adorable
was
human being.
Oh my
gorgeous.
god.
yes.
Like, I would want to know her. She's delightful.
4 friends in a book, name pending, that we can get them on here potentially and have them talk.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. What I loved most about her is she was skating at that level because it's what she loved to do.
Right.
She didn't have the pressure on her that she had when she was 13 and as she was growing up in the sport. And she stepped aside and came back because she wanted to and was bound and determined to skate on her own team or her own terms and
hmm
absolutely slayed both as a skater and a human. So,
But isn't that a
and
great lesson for all of us?
Yes.
absolutely. And I would be willing to bet my next paycheck, and like I told Charlie, I haven't drawn a paycheck in 3 years. Um, but I'll bet my next paycheck that internet searches for the word frenulum went up dramatically in the past week.
The
Frenulum.
piercing.
The piercing,
Oh, okay.
her piercing that
Oh.
looked like braces was actually a piercing of her frenulum, the the upper one. There's a another one on the bottom that's tied to the tongue. The
Gotcha.
lingual frenulum, but the other one is up here in the gum, and that's what she pierced. And
She's
And then
adorable.
lastly, by the way, Teresa and I had a debate on whether or not that was she was wearing braces, and I was like, nope, that's a piercing. Um, and then lastly, I want to give a shout out to Elena Myers Taylor for her first gold medal. And granted, I know there people aren't listening to our podcast. Shamefully, there should be. In the American bobsledded, she was phenomenal.
Yes.
She had never won gold, and she said she has 2 children who are hearing impaired, and she said she did this for them. And I was like,
Oh.
I want her to win so badly, and I hope I'm phrasing that correctly. But what a powerful message she sent to her kids that no matter what, you can accomplish anything.
yeah,
So
And she, in her last race, I remember her saying that she wants to bobsled for forever. Like she loves the sport. There were just so many delightful stories that, not everyone can win, but these people have worked so hard and just, some of the most touching stories. I'm sad to see the Olympics over.
well,
Mm.
I believe, and of course, there's no way to prove this, but I believe that had she not won the gold medal, Alyssa Liu would have come off the ice the same way, saying, "That's what I'm effing talking about."
I
I
agree with
loved
you.
it.
Yes, and one thing I loved is that she gave props to, her coach and, well, whoever was sitting next to her when she was getting the scores. She was like, clapping for
Yeah.
them, and that was markedly different than anyone else that I had seen. I don't know.
Yeah. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, a delightful human.
Yeah. It's good times.
and I do want to give props to another country, even though we shouldn't, because the Norway cross country skier, I don't
Oh,
6 gold medals at this Olympics, and I watched him do that 50-kilometer cross country ski. That dude was a beast. That's all I'm
yes.
going to say. And then we have more important things to discuss.
I don't know. This is pretty fun and pretty exciting, and it just reemphasizes the importance of the category of book Teresa chose several episodes ago. For those who took it lightly, shame on you, Joe.
Shame on you, Joe.
Yeah, story of my
Agreed.
life. Okay,
Uh,
so mashup fiction as a thing. David, you want to let her rip with your
Yeah.
genre that you chose?
well, first of all, I want to say that no matter the book you choose, and part of the reason I like this is I really like this genre. Number one, but number two, and I chose my book solely based. Well, first of all, I've read this book in the past, but I chose this book again because of my wife and our daughter. So my book is Henry VIII Wolfman. So my wife and daughter are, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not wrong. They are Six the Musical groupies.
100%.
We have gone to different locations in America to watch this performance. It is so good.
It's the best.
It is. And so if you're not familiar with Henry VIII, he has six wives, the basis for the musical. And Henry VIII, the Wolfman, is the retelling of the story of Henry VIII. I'm gonna do a little bit of spoilers and teasers, but I'm gonna try and stay as spoiler free as possible. And I wrote notes because I honestly I was in love with this. So in the mashup fiction, Henry VIII becomes a werewolf. And it happens because he's trying to protect his newborn son from being killed by werewolves. Now, why this becomes a little bit out there. He and his first marriage to Catherine of Aragon. Is that right? Because there's two Catherines, so I have to make sure I have the right one. So Catherine has given him daughters, but not, and there's a lot of stillborns and miscarriages. And then the last pregnancy that Catherine has is for a son. They would have named their son King George or Prince George, but he was killed by werewolves. And while he's trying to defend, that's when he's bitten and receives the curse of the lycanthrope or the werewolf. Now, the book delves into a little bit into all the wives of Henry VIII, but really it focuses on the first three wives. Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, who also wears this stunning green outfit and has some of the best music in the musical. And then the last one is Jane Seymour, or as the musical would say, the only one he truly loved.
That's right. Okay. Divorced, beheaded, died. Okay, yes. I had to go through my...
Now, in the story of Henry VIII, it also goes through the different facets of who Henry is and how, in the beginning, he's very conservative, he's very small framed. And as he ages, as he goes through his wives, he becomes very gluttonous and he becomes very a large, rotund man. But it's part of his attraction. And it also talks about the evolution of who Henry VIII is. Now, counterbalance that with Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, and Jane Seymour, you see the different images or the different evolutions of who Henry VIII is. So from Catherine, right, that's the tragic anchor or the turning point of where Henry VIII goes from just the King of England to now he's the, oh, woe is me, I now am a monster, or I've been turned into a monster. With Anne Boleyn, we see this as the pull, if you will, towards his baser instincts. It's all sexual in nature, it's gluttony, it's greed, it's possessive, and he's really embracing the very identity of who the wolf is. Because he starts wanting to have and covet those things that he can't have, just like he did with Anne Boleyn. Where he kind of cast aside Catherine, number one, because she couldn't give him a male heir that survived. And number two, because she's younger and she's supposedly innocent, which is something that in his new state he wants because she's delicate and vibrant as opposed to the older. And Catherine was about 40-ish, 41 years old when she supposedly gave birth to this prince. And so he wants something young and fresh and lively.
Oh.
When he sees that she's not as pure and not as healthy for him, I guess the best way to say it, then he casts her aside. But in the case of Anne Boleyn, where she's beheaded, he eats her.
Oh, my stars.
And so, yes, go ahead, Joe.
How do the themes of Henry VIII, the original,
Mm-hmm.
is there any connective tissue between the themes of that book and Henry VIII Werewolf?
Well, the connective tissue is eaten.
Is what? Is
a little gory humor. So the underlying story of Henry VIII is all based on the original.
Right.
What this guy A.E. Moorat has done is he's reimagined that story, but he's overlaid the werewolf trope to kind of some of these scenes, as opposed to Catherine of Aragon just being sent away, he eats her. Right. So it's a very violent and very blood filled. It's a very baser instinct of human or creature than what we're used to at this point in time. And what's interesting is this timeline, or this epoch, if you will, or era of history and fiction tends to be a real breeding ground for this mashup fiction. Because number one, this is the fantasy part of fiction, whether it's Henry VIII, whether it's Pride and Prejudice, whether it's Anna Karenina, all these major stories from the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s that we know in the back of our mind, we've read in school somewhere, are now pulled forward with these new overlays with them, if you will. So if you go ahead.
But in addressing your question, Joe, I would say the gluttony piece is definitely something that from what I know, which I mean, probably not
Thanks,
much.
musical.
Thanks, Six. It seems as though his appetite for kind of new and improved, that is something that was a recurring theme. And like David said, he starts out one way physically, and by the end of his life is vastly different. So this is a really interesting take on that.
Well, and so the other thing, I mean, to kind of delve into that, the overarching theme of all of Henry VIII is always about the production of a male heir.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what I have to have in order to be a successful king, to be a powerful king, is a male to carry on the lineage or the name of Henry. And so everything he does, in quotes, is for that end, breaking apart from the Catholic Church, the creation of the Anglican Church, so that he can have the opportunity to have a male heir. And so that thread is Henry protecting England from the threat of not having a good king or a good leader, or is he really the threat to the empire and the crown itself? And that's really what you find in Henry VIII, the book, and I think you find in Henry VIII, Wolfman as well. And so, and then last, I want to go to Jane Seymour because she is the piece that reshapes what we know of Henry. Because just like in the musical, just like in the original work, he goes from casting someone away or beheading or murdering somebody because they didn't match up, to Jane Seymour reminds him what humanity is all about. And she reminds him and reinvigorates that spark of love for humanity, for self, and for someone else. So she's the grounded portion, the reimagining or the repositioning of Henry from the beast, the monster, back to the king that made England great and made himself great. And then she tragically dies.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to stop there. Go ahead.
Does he eat her after she dies?
No, she dies. And he's brokenhearted. And from there, he
I just
delves
wonder.
into he delves into the more bestial aspect and becomes more raw and dark. And sadly, I can imagine myself if something were to happen to Teresa, God forbid, I would absolutely be in the darkest place possible. And I would have to overcome it for the kids, obviously, and for the little tiny terrorist known as Lily Bear.
Lily Bear the Bandit, Bandit Lily Bear.
She's taking a nap right now.
Thankfully.
Lily Bear.
But I don't know how I would recover from that. And I think that's where
Same.
Henry VIII delves off. I mean, if you pass away, you would also wouldn't be able to handle it or know what to do with yourself. I get it.
Listen.
No, just
you know what I was talking about.
So, and I'm happy to answer any other questions, but I'm going to turn it over to whoever would like to go next because I love this genre. And to break out of the cozy mysteries, I mean, it was kind of a cozy, but not really.
You know,
So.
okay, I appreciate it more hearing you describe this book and how the truth is related in the
Wolfman.
Wolfman? That didn't sound right all of a sudden when I said that.
I know.
Werewolf.
Werewolf, because
Werewolf,
that's what
yeah,
I'm trying to say. Werewolf.
My bad.
I think Wolfman, is that like Marvel Comics or something like that?
He's a disc jockey back in the
Oh,
50s, Wolfman Jack.
gosh.
But anyway, but hearing you describe it, David, makes it more appealing, makes it make more sense. Again, I cannot read a book in a week, but the one I was looking at, if I could have gotten it, would have been that one because I love Henry VIII. I love don't love Henry VIII, love the story
Right.
of Henry VIII and the wives. There was on PBS growing up, there was a Masterpiece Theater. And they would put on productions, like miniseries, back when miniseries were not a thing. You couldn't just turn on your TV and find a miniseries when I was growing up, except on PBS. And
Right.
so they put on Henry VIII and his wives. And each night, I guess it was once a week it would come on, and it was a different wife. The story of a different wife each time, and I was obsessed. I would have to, I was during the age of playing outside till the lights came on, and but I would have to rush home to make sure I was there to watch the Henry VIII show on Masterpiece Theater.
Quick question: who's your favorite wife?
Mine was always Anne Boleyn. Yeah.
I will say my favorite. I mean, Anne Boleyn's great because number one, her music is fantastic in the performance. But number
You've gotta see
two,
that musical. I have not seen it.
I'm telling you, the musical.
You must.
Yeah.
My second favorite wife, well, it's Anne Boleyn, and then it's the last Catherine. Is that right?
Isn't it Teresa, then Anne Boleyn, then the last Catherine?
Thank you.
I got
I was
you.
waiting for it.
Amiga.
I do it based on the music. So it's the last wife, which is Catherine Howard. Sorry, no, Catherine Parr. My gosh, see, there's so many Catherines. And then Anne of Cleves is also good because her music is just chef's kiss. But they weren't as pronounced in the book because it was such a short time span. And by that point, he had fully devolved into the beast, if you will. And the other part is this. I think the story or the message we get from Catherine Parr is probably more powerful from the original than it is from Henry VIII Wolfman because of what she brought to the world after his passing. So, again, I want to reference back, much like the women's Olympic hockey team who told the president of the United States that kick sand or kick rocks, because she was dismissed and they were dismissed, and yet they overcame and are so much more because of that fact. And I think that's a powerful message, no matter who you are or what you believe. So that's my take on Henry VIII Wolfman. I encourage you to read as many of these books as you can because honestly, it's a fun genre.
Yeah. Huh.
All right, Teresa, do you have one that you would like to share?
I do, but I want to reiterate what Diane said about this explanation. I mean, you've been reading these forever, and I've never really understood. And now I'm actually, believe it or not, intrigued because I thought that they were, I don't know what I thought, because there's one with zombies and stop it. There's one with zombies and zombies don't appeal to me. But now this one's kind of interesting because there's some pinning to real life. I don't know, kind of cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought so too.
Okay, my book is called The Austen Affair, as in Jane Austen. And I did not finish my book. I'm about halfway through. But this is a story about these two actors who are cast in one of Jane Austen's one of her books, and it's one I wasn't familiar with. It was posthumously published, but they have all this animosity, and then they have this event that happens, and they end up back in Jane Austen's time. So it's kind of a time travel thing. I took some liberties with the genre, but it's it's a cute book. Like I said, I'm not finished, but it's really interesting to think about what would happen if we were plunked into a time a couple hundred years ago, and we were unfamiliar with everything, and how do we adapt? Would we adapt? And then how do you come home?
Yeah.
Or do you want to come home? So it's a cute book thus far. I will finish it, even though Lily bit it and ate part of it. But yeah, it's a cute book. I do recommend it. It's called The Austen Affair, and it's by Madeline Bell.
So, not to interrupt, there's currently a Hallmark movie. Also, I'm a sucker for Hallmark movies. I don't know what's happened to me. I mean, I used to be about blood sports and weirdness, and now I'm, cozy mystery and Hallmark movies. But there's currently a Hallmark movie where a guy fast forwards through time, kind of like this very question of, would you go back? Could you go back? And I think that's a great question. I mean, if you could live in any time, like if you could move forward or move backwards in time, would you?
I wouldn't.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you move backwards or forwards?
My people are here.
I'd go with you.
Yeah.
But what about everybody else?
Oh, we'd have to kidnap.
I would not move backwards, and it's totally self-preservation because of disease. That scares the crap out of me. Moving back, and I wouldn't know, where is the typhoid fever? Where is the diphtheria? Where is the polio? I've got to stay away from these places. That would scare me. So.
But since we're inoculated, would it be safe, or would we be safe? Because that's a great point.
Good point. Okay, now if my inoculation went with me, then I have to think, where would I want to go?
See, my mind, and this I think is a reflection on my character, is if I were to go back in time, for example, I would go bet on sports and make as much money as I could to make future Joe richer than rich people. That's where my mind goes about going to the past.
Then I'm going with you.
Hell yeah. My people are going with me. And we're vaccinated, so YOLO.
Think about that. Vaccinated. Yeah.
What about you, David?
Interesting question that I'm going to tie in later. So I'm going to put a pin in that. But go ahead, David. What about you?
Well, if my soul bunny's not going, then I'm not going.
I'll go. Fine.
Fair. Wow. No, but I mean, I struggled for a long time to find someone named Teresa, and so I'm not just gonna be like, all right, see you guys later. Yeah,
But if she would go with you, where would you
right.
go?
she wouldn't
Yeah.
go. But if she would, I think we would go back to like France during the time of Napoleon and Louis VIII or Louis XIII or 15th, whatever he is, because she, number one, she loves a fancy dress, and number two, well, and she looks stunning in them, but number two, she loves a party. Um, and the fact that we would have a castle and she could throw parties, I mean, she's all over that.
Would the castle be drafty?
Yes.
In
No,
every
because
bad book I've ever read, the castle is always described as drafty.
no, we would
Yeah.
have fires in almost every room because I know my wife, and happy castle, happy wife.
There would
Warm
have to
castle,
be at
happy
least
wife.
some measure of drafty for the fireplaces, the myriad of fireplaces that would exist in the home.
Yeah. I'm like David. I've waited too long to find him. I'm not gonna shake this up.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with. Ooh, I know what I would do.
What?
We'll take our vaccinated selves and go back to 1977.
I was just thinking that
No,
too.
actually
I mean,
1978. Let's pick up in May
yeah,
of 1978.
yeah,
So yeah, that would
that
be
would work.
interesting to see what how this arc would look differently.
Yeah.
Hmm.
'Cause it's been a pretty tremendous arc. That's the other thing is my first thought when you were talking about going back and forward. It's like the arc that I've lived, obviously any other arc would be different, but this arc has been interesting. It's been and where I'm at now, I can't imagine another time in history where that I could possibly be as at peace, as in love, as happy as I've gotten to now. Maybe going back so I still had the 25-year-old body, but that's about it. A 64-year-old body's not the same.
I would probably
Preach.
want to go back to 1996 so that I had my kids
Yeah.
and then picked up.
Good time to pick up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
35. We'd have been 35. You'd have been getting sober. Yeah.
Yep. 96 was a good one. Depending on if you came right, if we dropped in like between Charlie and the 4th of September, you could have gotten me dead.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
78 or 96.
there you go.
Hmm.
Those are my alternate timeline choices.
Well, that got off topic.
It did, but it was
100%.
it was kind of because, well, I don't want to start sharing my experience with this genre until we're ready for that. But yeah, it's kind of, there's sort of a science fiction-y element to this genre.
Oh, 100%. And I think it actually is your turn, Joe.
Okay. The book that I chose is It's a Wonderful Death. And it is a mystery noir retelling of It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
I am not a fan of this genre. The two words that, and I'll tell you why. And I wanted to hear y'all's comments and thoughts before I shared, because I wanted to make sure I was, you know, my thoughts were organized and in context appropriately. The two words that come to mind are fan fiction. All of these are bolting something else on or weaving something else into existing stories. They're not new stories. They're new twists on existing stories, which I guess by definition makes them different story, altering the, the arc of timeline. So I guess there is a measure of that where it is some of that. But it just really felt like fan fiction to me. Obviously, the genre, the mystery noir sort of is very different than the movie It's a Wonderful Life and all that. So I get that was interesting. But I just couldn't get past the fact that there's already a story. If you want to tell a mystery noir story, cool. Tell that story. If you want to write a science fiction, if you want to write a werewolf, all those things, tell those stories. So I hear what you're saying, David, and I'm not, this is just for moi. That's kind of where I'm at, is it's just the blending of the genres is a bit disorienting a little bit to me. And they just felt like fan fiction, writing on top of somebody else's story instead of writing a new story. So I probably won't finish this book. The pacing was not great. So even the retelling of the story was the writing of it. It's in its own right was kind of crappy, but I was much more interested in finishing Ender's Game than I was in, which is a true science fiction. It's its own story. It's its own independent thing, than I was trying to power through It's a Wonderful Death.
So I'm intrigued why you didn't choose Stephen King's 11/22/1963.
Yeah, good, because it was really long. I have not yet read that. That is on my TBR.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, I didn't have time. That one, it's an alternate timeline. I didn't know if that would really fit within. That's an alternate historical fiction or alternate timeline rather than the mashup sort of vibe that I thought we were going for. So I actually wouldn't have landed that in this genre, but it's a good call.
Well, and I'll tell you why. So, all right, having watched the series for the novel, it fits in the sci-fi mashup because it really begins to reimagine around the assassination of Kennedy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we all know the story of Kennedy, and in this book, Stephen King says, "What if we could go back in time and redo everything?" And so I thought it would have fit nicely. And honestly, as I've been watching this while I grade, I was like, huh, I bet Joe picks this book because I thought you'd already read it. So
No, I haven't read it yet.
got you. Yeah.
I think
So I was trying to be true to the
mm-hmm.
spirit. Sorry, Teresa, but I was trying to be true to the spirit of the genre. I thought I understood kind of where you were going, where it's a
Sure.
spin on a classic story, a classic tale, but by the introduction of science fiction or mystery or whatever. So I tried to stay true to it so I could give it a fair shake.
I appreciate it. And I was taking it from the Teresa standpoint of the top or genre adjacent, which always amazes me with Teresa, who is the absolute rule follower for most of my existence and knowing her. And then she's like, oh, but it kind of, which it just tickles my heart.
My observation on that, and I'm, again, obviously an outsider in this, Teresa is a rule follower who will not be told what to do.
Absolutely.
Am I really far off on that?
Nope, not at all.
You're blushing.
No.
I must be at least close.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
100%.
goodness.
And then she'll turn around sometimes and be like, well, you told me to. No, not going. Nope.
I do that too. But I did tell David that mine was adjacent to what he was proposing, but I don't think I really understood either. I was thinking a very, like Joe said, a very literal. It had to be this because you read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, right?
You talking about me?
Yes.
No, I read Henry VIII Wolfman, and then
No,
I've also
a different
also
time.
read Prejudice and Zombies. Yes.
Okay. And so I was thinking it had to be a book with some kind of weird
No.
addition. And so I was like, hard no, I'm not going to do that.
But in reality, I mean, even just to riff on that Stephen King book again, that's the Oliver Stone story of the Kennedy assassination with the Stephen King, layover on it. And so that's, yeah.
I think now that I understand that it's much broader, it would have, maybe I would have brought a different spirit to the whole thing. But I don't think I understood, and that was on me.
No, it's my fault. I
like
didn't
the
explain well.
I like the inclusion of the alternate timeline or the alternate history, inclusion of that in this, because that is interesting to me, particularly if you look back, pick any spot, any event in history, and, one of the kind of classic tropes is people say, "Whoa, if you could go back in time, would you kill Hitler as a child?" Would to prevent what came later, and that's sort of that ethical dilemma sort of
Right.
thing, but, yeah, you could pick really any event in history, and what could you have done to alter the course of history, and then what would be the unintended consequences? That's an interesting literary question to me, just follow that along. That's why 11/22/63 is interesting to me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you
Maybe I'll
go.
try another one.
You know what I like the most, though, is that this is a type of genre that people don't really talk about. It's
Right.
not one that I knew. So I like that you brought it up and that we talked about it.
And that is what you get here on Four Friends in a Book Named Pending that you can't get anywhere else. Name Pending, is that what it's called now?
That is correct.
I had a thought. 4 friends and some books. Instead of having to change the whole thing, or 4 little friends in a book.
Those are cute. I like those.
It was like, how can we not change where people could
Right.
still find us by knowing that it's 4 friends in a book, but now it's 4 friends in a few books.
Damn it.
Or
I was gonna try and take a shortcut and just say, "Let's just go with 4 friends," but there's already a podcast about that.
well,
Ooh, how about 4 friends and a chicken, or 4 chickens and a book?
I'm
I'm
fine
not
with
bringing
whatever.
chickens into the house.
Do
yeah.
what?
I'm not bringing chickens into the house.
There's already a podcast called Chickenology.
Oh my goodness.
There's an episode of Cy Montgomery's podcast called What the Chicken Knows. So, but yeah, we could go with 4 chickens in a book. Just saying.
How about patchouli friends in a book?
Sure. I'm fine with whatever.
I don't know.
I kind of like 4 friends in a book named Pending.
Yeah.
Just
I don't mind
say that
that.
every time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, fine. That's fair. That is fair.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. All right.
So-
So what else is going on? What else? Sorry, I'm having to juggle a appointment that I had with. Do you know Val Vera?
Mm-mm.
You know
The
Val,
poet.
poet. Anyway,
Oh.
he and I had a bro date kind of thing tomorrow. I was gonna help set up his podcast stuff tomorrow, but he had a conflict, so he's having to juggle it.
Switching.
So
Gotcha. Well, next week we are circling back around to me, and I chose magical realism. So I didn't know that this was a genre until I started reading it. And I was like, I really like this book and I really like this book. And I wanted to know what made them so interesting to me. So
Ugh,
It may
Can
actually be kind of like David's genre, you know?
can
I love it.
Yeah.
I've got. It's going to be hard for me to pick one
Briars
because
Club?
I've got a couple.
Briars
Oh,
Club?
Briars Club would fit because the house talked, but no. Briars.
Let me ask this, and I know, but
Mhm.
for our myriad listeners, our vast listening audience, can you give some examples of um, um,
Magical realism.
magical realism books?
Wayward,
Oh yeah, good one.
Oh,
That's good. Yep.
Midnight Library,
Did not read
Oh,
Midnight Library. Did read
mm,
Wayward.
Matt Haig, love it.
yeah, great book. Great book.
Yeah, there are so many, and let me think.
Anything that has just a touch of fantasy, like it's
Shark
not
Heart,
like the whole book is unbelievable. The whole book is
right?
believable, but there's this touch of fantasy in it, of make
Hmm.
believe. That's
Yeah,
magical. Yeah,
absolutely. Shark Heart, my favorite book of 2024, and the best
yeah.
cover ever. Um, Gosh, there's just so many.
Are
I just can't think of
we
them all.
are we looking specifically at contemporary or kind of anything across time?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Ooh, I've got one.
Who you know what's categorized as magical realism that I will not be reading?
What?
What is that?
100 Years of Solitude. Oh my God. I literally I see that title and I clench. It was so painful.
Mm.
Yeah, it made me very sad.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Not every book is for every person.
Ooh, I have one.
No, and there are some people that's like their favorite book of all time.
Yes, it is
100 Years of Solitude.
considered a classic, and I just cannot.
Yeah.
so just for clarifying purposes, does it have? I guess so. Just a hint of magic, and we're good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
Not
loaded
even
question.
magic. Like Diane said, science fiction.
Fantasy.
So it doesn't have to be
science fiction.
magic.
Something unreal, but could be real, maybe real.
Right.
Like books with like golems in it, like that are it's in the Jewish tradition to have these golems, and I've got a book that I never can remember the title of, but it's a beautifully written book by Alice Hoffman.
Yes.
That's magical realism, where she's talking about the war in the invasion of France and getting the kids out of France, but there's a golem in it, and so who's helping protect, and that's magical realism. The whole, historical fiction with this twist of
I think
magic.
it's something that you will like, David. I really do.
I've already read down this path, but I've never had it classified as magical realism. You know what I had it
Ooh,
classified as?
I've got one for you that you've read.
Fantasy?
is it orange? Is it orange?
No?
Okay.
Do
So
tell.
choose your books.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
looking at books.
Yeah.
So we
I have a
supposed
suggestion for him that I know he's read.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Well,
Well,
there's
good.
there's a couple on here, and there's one in particular that I would like to bring up. It's an old book that I've read a long time ago, that I think would fit within the magical realism genre. It's a little heavy, the subject matter, but even though it's heavy, it's so uplifting.
yeah. Good. It's going to be a good topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoyed this topic this week because it expanded my horizons
Me
quite a
too.
bit. So
Me
Yeah.
too. And I didn't think I would. I didn't think I'd enjoy
Yeah.
this. So good job, David.
Way to go, David. And again, it's not a genre that I think, but I don't think that's a requirement for these conversations. I think that's kind of why we have these conversations, because we're not all going to have the same favorite genre. And being able to have conversations, honest conversations about this is what I liked about this one, this is what I didn't like. I love the magical element that goes along with Henry VIII werewolf.
Mhm.
Or Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter. Those are, there's a certain appeal to that I get, but and it may have just been the book that I chose, so I'm not writing the genre off as a whole, but, yeah, it just felt this one in particular just felt really fan fiction-y and like,
Mhm.
Yeah, not a
yeah,
good one.
nah, tell your own story, bruv.
Um, on a whole different note, before we sign off, I do want to say I'm super pumped, right? Because we're in the first full week of early voting. It opened last Monday. We're still going on. Um, the sheer turnout we're seeing for either first time or returning early voters, especially in the Democratic Party, is absolutely phenomenal. And this is not to say the Republicans are sucking, but almost 600,000 Democrats have turned out for for the primaries and the early votes, and that's a powerful message, especially when you consider they are leading the Republicans in the primaries by about between 90 and 110,000 votes.
Wow.
And so that's a huge message, number one. And number two, the number of Democrats that are actually running across the state is phenomenal.
Yeah.
In the years past, it's always been the Democrats have giant holes or gaps in their ballots. Not this time. I mean, we're seeing people in spots that we haven't seen a Democrat in decades. And that's a powerful message. Um, and in many cases, Democrats, our own hero, Smokey Joe Mays, for the House District 106, is an unopposed candidate in the Democratic Party, which is a walkthrough or a walkover, depending on how you want to phrase it. And so he will go right to the general election without having to fight the primary and spend that money.
Mhm.
Now, I point this out for a couple of reasons. Number one, it doesn't mean that it's done. And so we've got to keep those voters interested, whether it be Republicans or Democrats. We've got to keep those voters interested, but we also need to make sure our voters are finding out where their candidate's money is coming from, because that's hugely important. And in East Texas, there's a candidate. I don't want to name her name, um, but she received about a $2.2 million check or set of checks from one donor, and she's running in the primary for a House seat or Senate seat, excuse me, in the Texas legislature, but she's being privately funded almost by one donor in particular. And
Who?
that's a huge sum of money. And in Texas, we don't have campaign finance limits for Texas politicians. And so, how do you overcome that kind of money from a millionaire who's from out of state, who's retired to Texas and is seeking to carve out their own type of policy preferences?
Mm.
So, just putting that out there, make sure you know who you're voting for and why you're voting for them. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, I could care less, but I just want you to vote. Make sure that you're an informed voter when you do so.
Where do
Early
we
voting goes
find
on
the
until next
finance
week.
records?
So for state
Okay.
legislators, you can find it in a couple of places. I recommend Transparency USA, and you can also look at ballotpedia.org if you're not familiar with it. Plus, you can see the history of your district that you're voting in. And if you don't know who your votes or who you're voting for or where you're voting, ballotpedia.org will help you with that. And then in the comments this week, we'll drop some links for you guys to be able to reach out to your find out who to vote for, like in terms of who's in your district or who's in your races, and then where you could go vote as well. And so those are all important things to keep in mind. And I hope you exercise your rights as a voter, because if you don't, one day they may go away.
Yeah.
So
Have y'all voted yet? And well, my question is, do you know what state house district are you in?
we are in State House District 57.
Got it.
We
Ray
used to be 64, but we got redistricted into 57.
Ray
Um,
Stith is running in the Democratic side, I think in 57.
yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
And then we used to be in U.S. House District 26, and we got redistricted into U.S. House 13.
Lucky.
Are we? Have you
We're
seen that House District?
Have you seen District 26
Oh my goodness.
representative?
Yeah,
You know who the 26th representative is.
I do. House District 13 starts in Denton and runs out to the Panhandle and the border of Amarillo. And the guy doesn't even have a house, doesn't have an office in Denton because he doesn't need to. And if you want to talk to him, you have to make an appointment. So
Lovely.
that
Oh.
Politicians are the worst. Only an idiot would run for office.
Oh, stop it.
Big facts. Big truth.
Yeah, that's why they need to elect you, because you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, like to think so. And I will point out that, and you talked about money, and obviously that's a huge, unfortunately, a huge controlling piece of that. However, we have seen recently in Tarrant County that it's not always the candidate who outspends the other who
No.
wins. There are other aspects of getting out the vote, as the saying goes. So yeah, I'm with you. I stood 20 years. My father stood 20 years. My son stood 8 years. My grandfather stood to protect the right for us to elect our leaders. And I don't ever want to see us lose that, um,
Mm-mm.
right that has been assured to us. So
And I think it's important to realize, if you don't know what he's saying when he says stood, that means he stood a post. He stood up as part of the U.S. military, both his father, his son, his grandfather, Joe himself. And so that's an important caveat to realize. Veterans don't just come from the Republican Party, they come in all aspects of life. And we have one here on a weekly basis running for House District 106 as a Democrat. And that's the Joe Mays for Texas campaign. So if you're not familiar with it, get out there, take a look, drop a few dollars in there too, because campaigns are expensive. And he's not going to win this without your help for all the voices that want to be heard.
I would like to say that the role of candidate's wife is not one that I envy. Diane is really, really good at it.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Not really. I mean,
Yeah, you are. You're
I'm
kind of
just,
killing it.
you
So,
know, just hang out with the candidate.
yeah. And then we
Um,
get to stop for Mexican food on the way home from events.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, if you need a place to go eat Mexican food, I don't want to name any names, but Mexican Sugar in Frisco, amazing.
Good to know, because
They have
we're
some.
spending lots of time in Frisco these days.
They have some of the best vegetarian fajitas.
Mexican Sugar.
Mexican Sugar. It's over in Legacy. The shops at Legacy area,
Okay.
over there by the Omni. Not the Omni, the Embassy Suites Hotel.
Yep, by the Star.
By the mall.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal Mexican food, and the people there are fantastic.
Well,
Good
we
to
are, as Diane said, we're spending a lot more time. We were in the Colony last night. We were in Frisco on Friday. We are putting together events all over the place and attending events all over the place. Going block walking this Friday. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun stuff going on. Oh, I need to, totally unrelated, David, I need to reach out to you on a couple of things. I know you got to bounce right at 6, so I do have some questions. Want to bounce a couple things off you before we get too much further down the road.
Text me.
Word.
All right.
Okay, guys. This was a
Well,
lot of
this was
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I came up with my 2 topics. I sent them to you. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right.
I feel like I'm the only person that still hasn't put their topics in.
Okay, hang on, wait a minute. I'm looking. Political dystopian. Ooh. Strong women. Ooh, I know a book I'm picking there. Okay.
Good.
There you
We
go.
got some good things coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Keep following. Keep
Thank
reading.
you for anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Y'all have a great week.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
too.
Happy
Love
reading.
you too.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the Patchouli Podcast Network.